Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's an all-you-can-geek Gamecast. I'm one of your host, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey Feinside,
Ahoy!
and Tony Coconuts.
Hey, hey, hey.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners. Welcome, viewers. We're live right now on Twitch. Tuesday nights. It's starting at 8 o'clock. Moviecast, Gamecasts. Stay tuned for all that stuff. If you don't see these live broadcasts, if you're not free on Tuesday nights, you can always check it out on YouTube. If you're watching this there, we'd like to, we like you guys watching. Keep watching. Give us a subscribe. Give us a like. Give us a comment. We appreciate it. So, folks, what have you been playing? Tony, kick us off.
So my brother and I, we beat Silent Hill 2 remake.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And that is a fantastic game. Like, Bluer hit it out of the park. I know we just talked about expectations at the end of the movie cast, unrelated, but this game surpassed all expectations, I believe. Just from Konami's perspective, from the fans' perspective, like everybody was downing this because Bluer's had some questionable releases before. It was, at best mixed, or something like that. So it was like, oh, they got a cheap developer to do this, but they absolutely hit a home run. I know baseball season for some of you folk. They just totally nailed every aspect of it. It's not a perfect game, but in terms of like what you expected the remake to do, it really just fires on all cylinders. One of the greatest horror games of all time.
Didn't change the balance of like the swords. They're still like limited, right?
The what?
Like didn't they have swords in that one, or is that? Am I thinking about the room? I'm thinking about the room. Never mind. I'm on the wrong one. I'm on the wrong one. I thought about the ghost with the swords. Yeah, that's the room.
No, that's another one.
I saw a funny, not necessarily me, but post was like, "Here's your Find Your Missing Wife trilogy."
Yeah.
Alan Wake, Dead Space, and
yeah. So it's really good. Obviously, man, this game is spooky as hell. Like, it was fortunate I was playing with her because like there were parts where we were like, what was that? Like the sound design that they did for this game is really fantastic, and just learning about trivia, like even in the original release, apparently they recorded, back on the PS1 or PS2 days, they recorded like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different like footsteps because they didn't want it to sound too formulaic that you would just get used to the footsteps and stuff like that. They wanted things to sound different all the time, so you're like, what was that? Even your own footsteps and stuff like that. And there are just parts where it's like, what the heck? So in this game, they have the main character has a radio attached to him, and as long as it's on, which it is by default, when enemies are near you, you start to hear this like radio static noise that there's an enemy near you. So the thing is, you'll just walk around, and most of the game is very dark, like absolute pitch black. Your flashlight is like a shitty ass one because they didn't make good ones back in the 90s or 80s, whatever.
Nope, it took place. Hit them.
Yeah, they were just so bad. So like you're just like creeping around hallways and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden you'll hear like the static of the radio, and you're like, okay, fuck me, like where's an enemy gonna pop out of? And like they're just so creepy in terms of like they literally just come out of nowhere. Or like there was one time I was just like, I opened the door to a room, I heard the sax, I was like, okay, well, let me just like observe for a moment, right? And I just see one enemy like scurry across the room and like go and hide under a table. I'm just like, what? Like, like it's just like just playing hide and seek. I was like, okay, like I'm glad I stopped because otherwise I just would have gotten like fucking blindsided and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really fantastic game. I think there's 8 endings in total, so we'll probably be replaying that a couple times. And it'll be easier now. It's kind of like the Resident Evil thing. Once you know like the answers to puzzles, once you know the codes and stuff like that, you could just be like, I know the solution to this. I don't have to like waste my time, looking around and stuff like that. So, absolutely phenomenal game. Definitely deserving of the recognition. I think Konami even announced first 3 days or whatever, it sold like 1 million copies, which is great. And hopefully they can continue either with more remakes or maybe an original game. We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be great. Cool. All right, Corey.
You're muted. Jinx.
got a little bit more of metaphor in.
Okay.
I was trying to play some at work, like during lunchtime at work and stuff, which is nice because you can just pop up in there, and play some and then bounce out. But my one buddy, like, I was talking to him, who like, I play board games with. He was saying how he was playing it, and he was like, 15, 16 hours into it at the time, And then like over the weekend, he put 40 hours into it.
Holy shit!
He's like, I couldn't stop. Like I couldn't put it down. I was like Friday. I was like, I'll play for an hour. And then I was like, I played for like 6 hours. And then Saturday, the same week. I was like, holy crap, man!
Like it's Sunday. What the hell?
Yeah. He was like, yeah, it's just like, yeah. He's like, there's a moment, like when you hit that, it's like you're not gonna want to stop. I was like, oh shit.
Nice.
Wow.
But yeah, it's amazing. Everything about it aesthetically is so cool, and yeah, I just can't wait to get into more further. I'm very curious now what that point.
How many hours are you on?
I think based off of where I'm at, I'm probably 6-ish hours. So
okay, yeah,
slowly, a little grinding away.
Hoping that I'm gonna pick that one up soon, but I'm like wondering, Tony, like same idea. Like, do I wait for like Black Friday area?
We're like 2-3 weeks away from it. So
I know.
I know. It's one of those things though. It's also like. For me, well, this is like you can find it on sale now too if you're
I know.
If you want to do Steam Deck or something.
Yeah.
But I would recommend it Steam Deck because it's just an easy game to pick up and play. There looks great still, plays obviously without a problem, and then the voice acting is really well done actually in this. I'm pretty.
I noticed that right off the bat. I was like, yeah, I mean, like that company really. I mean, obviously people love the Persona games. I'm not trying to take anything away from the earlier stuff, but that Persona 5 game was just like. I think they just found that
the art styles really works with the fantasy.
Yeah. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like it works. It works great.
Yeah, the different tropey characters that you get and stuff like that is in fantasy stuff it just really like aesthetically pleasing and they do a great twist on it. It's like the Persona look of fantasy characters. Like wow, this is really
they pulled it off nicely. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
cool. All right, Mike.
I finished Shattered Space.
Nice.
I still actually have maybe another side quest or two, and I put in like 25 to 30 hours in that. So I don't know what the 5 hours of content people are saying. I think they're lying, probably. Overall, though, I say it's good, not great. It held my attention. It was fun to play, fun to see this new world. Definitely the most lore-heavy stuff that they have. The problem is in this planet.
Okay.
What?
Go on. I had a question about, are there aliens in this game, though?
No, there's no aliens.
Okay. Sorry. Go on. I'm not.
How dare you, Jim? How fucking dare you ask if there's aliens in a fucking space game?
Go on.
How fucking
I wasn't trying to start.
you?
I
What
just
a
wanted to know. I wanted to
stupid
know.
question.
I mean, well, there are aliens, but not ones that talk.
Okay. Okay.
But anyway,
go on.
This whole society on this this planet is like a theocracy. Everyone has the religion they have to adhere to, and they all have strange names. And there's like the factions are. It's hard to remember the differences of their names because they're these words that don't register to me as like normal words. And then basically you have to pledge yourself to this fundamentalist religion before you can interact with anything, which is a little off-putting early on, which I can see why people maybe didn't want to do that. But you know, it's interesting. You go through it in the end, and then the ending's a little abrupt, but this does have that step out of the vault moment that you were missing from this if you're a big Bethesda fan, because the planet is like a bigger tile, I would say, than what we get on most of the planets, and everything is handcrafted there, and you can wander outside of the city to a lot of different specific points of interest, and some are required for you to go and do certain things, and it's pretty cool then. You're like, oh, this is... I didn't even think I was really missing that. I thought, like, well, I don't like wandering around that much and just, like, seeing stuff and going there. Like, that's cool, but I feel like, eh. But I'm like, no, this is kind of cool, especially with the car now. And I got the car stuck in a tree a few times because I'm boosting all over the place. It's basically like a little bit of, like, Fallout with a Mako, which is, you know, so it's kind of fun. But, you know, the story ends a little abruptly, and it is all contained pretty much on this one.
That's maybe the abrupt ending is why they gave it some People give it some bad marks. Maybe it just felt like they didn't finish it.
Yeah, it's just you have one character who this culture is very relevant to her. She's a fan favorite character, really, Andreja, and she talks to you if you bring her along a lot. She mentions things a lot, but she has no sort of like post game. She doesn't have anything to say afterwards, which was pretty disappointing. But the characters have always been the thing in Starfield that have kind of disappointed me the most. Like I don't even care that there's no aliens or that every planet seems to have one city, which is stupid, but okay, so those bother me a little bit. But the biggest thing is that the characters they're just not
Yeah.
not it, not quite it. They don't quite do enough. But
Yeah. Your
I was
companions should make the game, and they're not.
right.
Yeah.
I was impressed honestly with what she said and all the stuff during the missions and how like she even got me some like free persuasions because she knows the culture. She says something to egg someone on the right way. But at the end, I wanted a post-game wrap-up to talk to her. It's like, what did you think about what I did or what they did, or should I be hostile or not here, or, so. But no, I'm glad I played it. I do think the other improvements that have happened over the year helped me enjoy it more than if I was used to these improvements already before jumping in. Because I like the car, I like the sliders, I like the graphical increase and all that stuff, but otherwise, it was okay. I'd give it like a 7.5. I understand some people not liking the religious thing, but I don't understand the idea that it's 5 hours of content. It's not. It can take probably 30 if you do everything. So
but people aren't talking about doing everything. They're talking about critical pathing.
But that's the content of the DLC.
That's the critical pathing.
That's what you get.
No.
Well, that's stupid. What you can't do the critical path and speed run it and say this is 5 hours of content. That's not what this was worth. It's like, okay. So
if you're talking about main story content, yes. Otherwise, I'd be like, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a 200-hour game. It's going to take 200 hours to do every piece of content. I'm never going to say that.
It's not every piece of content. It's quests. These aren't like just
same thing with Final Fantasy. Jim, did you do every side quest in Final Fantasy VII?
Nope.
Corey, did you do every side quest in Final Fantasy VII? Neither did I. Weird.
I told you what, I hit like 50 hours in that game. I should be like 80. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still the content that was added.
We're talking about story content. Main story content.
There's quests.
Yes, Mike, every RPG has quests. We know this.
I mean, there are story parts in quests in Final Fantasy that are pretty significant, and there's things that you can miss that would enhance your experience. I'm just saying, if we're talking about it, like,
here's the thing. And now we're gonna get into some. We can tie my conversation part into this.
You finished Star Wars?
No, I did not.
I thought you said you were gonna finish it.
I didn't yet. I'm almost there. I'm in the end game, but I'm not done yet. I am in the end game. It told me, hey, finish your shit up before you do this. So I'm like, hey, I'm finally going to finish this game. But I am not done yet by the podcast. But I will be done next week. So, but yeah, Churro, some games are fun to do the side quest stuff. Yeah, obviously, Churro, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, right. No, that's fine. And nobody's saying it's not. But it's just when people are like, I just want to do the main story, and it's like, oh, it's over in 5 hours. Like, okay, cool.
This is what brings me to my point.
No one would say The Witcher 3 is like a 10-hour game, but that's what would happen if you just played the main story and didn't do anything else.
No, if you went how long did it be? Look up the critical pathing hours. Do you want me to do it? Do you want me to do it?
Go ahead.
For Witcher?
Okay, sure. Go on. Go ahead. Look it up.
How long if you just do that? Yeah.
Here's the thing. Like, I am of the person, like, I feel like, depending on how the story unfolds, to play it the way I play the game, I want to play it, like, I'm not going to go help this dog get this meal if my friend is dying on, you know what I'm saying?
You've mentioned this before, Jim. Like, yeah,
I've said this millions of times.
Yeah, you're trying to role play the character.
The main quest stories should be there. I shouldn't have to go out and do some side quests to find some other story tidbits. They should be brought to me on this. They make sure I get your story. That's the way a game should be built. Like, make sure I get it, because I could miss it, and that's not good. Like, I'm sorry. Like, there's so many cool side things. I get it. Like, there's so much sub story. We talked about it in the movie cast with, like, the Penguin show. It's a great show. It doesn't necessarily need to be seen by people that just watch the Batman movies. Like, it enhances it. That's the same thing with side quests. They enhance the game. They don't necessarily need to be played. And that's where I bring into, like, Final Fantasy VII did it. I missed some story stuff, but I didn't like discover everything I didn't. I missed some stuff, and it should have been like there, and I don't know where I missed it. I thought I did everything. I was following the story, but I missed some stuff. And then the same thing, Mike. Like that's the idea.
I know that's fine, but when you're talking, one of the main complaints is there's not content here, but a lot there is. If you just speed run,
but no, you're misinterpreting reviews again. You're misinterpreting the people are saying the main story is only 5 to 7 hours or whatever it was. Nobody's saying, oh, there's nothing for me to do. It's just the main story is only this long.
Mike posted a completionist thing. They said like 18 hours, I think, right, Mike, or something like that, or 16.
Yeah, which also seems low to me because I don't do everything. There's still at least 2, and I put it in like 26 hours.
Okay, so let's get back to Witcher 3. So Mike, you said it would take 10 hours to do the Witcher 3 main story.
Yeah.
Okay. According to How Long to Beat, with 22,000 people having recorded their time, the average for main story is 51 and a half hours.
I was guessing 60. I was close.
I don't believe.
Oh, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Because no one who plays that game plays just the critical path. No one does it.
Right. The idea is this is the average, Mike. That's how averages work.
Right, but I also just don't believe that.
We're not talking about speedruns. We're talking about the average experience of playing just the main story. That is about the ballpark figure.
Okay. From people who don't want to say anything good about Starfield. It's fine.
Yep. It was, everybody was out to get Starfield, Mike. It was Steam. It's Metacritic. Everybody's out to get Starfield.
Everyone wants their internet points. They think it's fun to make fun of you. Just watch all the YouTube videos, all the thumbnails. That's the thing. You can't say anything good about Starfield. I'm the only one on the internet who is willing to say anything good about it.
Everybody else is wrong.
Yes.
All right. And the people that said good things about it are taking it back. So.
Yep, they're walking it back.
Yeah. We'll
have something else to talk about Bethesda related in 2 days, right? Fallout Day or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Fallout Day. Yeah. The last DLC, Mike, how long was the story on that one roughly? I heard it was like double.
What DLC?
The main story. Wasn't there not DLC before this or patched?
This is the first one.
Oh, it's the first one? Okay.
No, they had like one mission they sold you for like $8 or whatever.
Oh,
it was. Been out, or I mean, there's the Trackers Alliance thing, which was basically one level that was free.
Okay.
One level that was free, and then you could get like basically another level if you pay $8 for some reason, which I have not done.
So, all right. Let's get into some news. Go on. Spider-Man 2. Let's talk Spider-Man 2. Coming to PC now, January 2025, folks. That's huge. That's how many months, Tony?
What did I say, 15?
15? I think you said it was a year and a half. Was it even a year and a half? Wasn't even.
No, because it came out this month. Last year, right?
So it'll be
September.
Last year,
yeah, they'll get that down to a year shortly, and then it'll be 6 months. Like I'm telling you, it's gonna be 6 months.
They're not gonna do 6 months. It's too close. They like these 2 launches too much.
They've already come down. It was 2 years, right? I think the last time we talked about this, you were like, it's gonna be 2 years. I was like, I don't know. I could see 18 months.
Like a month ago.
Huh?
We talked about it for a while.
We talked about it like a month or 2 ago when we talked about Ghost of...
I said I don't think they'll get under a year. That's what I said. I don't think they'll want to do that.
I do remember us talking about 12 months quite often. So in Mike's defense, I do think
no, that's fine. But we're getting closer there, right? Because it was like 2 years. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure you're like, well, Ghost is like a 4-year-old game or whatever. I'm like, yeah, Ghost, that's one game. But anyway, it's 15 months. AAA title. This is not like just a random Days Gone or fucking Ratchet and Clank or anything like that. This is one of their big sellers. 15 months.
Now has no DLC, which is probably part of it.
That's what I was going to get into next. How do you feel about the announcement of no story content coming for DLC?
That's fine. I'm okay with it.
This is the big pivot. This is one of the, we're talking about predictions. I predicted that they would have some sort of pivot from what was leaked, and this is a pretty big one because they had lots of DLC listed in their leaks.
Why would the leak make them pivot that? Just so I know.
Because they don't like that people are like know about it or expecting it, or they didn't like the reaction to certain things, or maybe even I theorize they might not even do the Venom game, or they might try to prioritize Wolverine now, get it sooner, and skip everything else. Because judging by how people are looking at,
we discussed this. We discussed this a little bit on our chat, and I mean, historically, their DLC campaign wasn't played by a lot of people. So like
Most DLCs aren't.
so it's like why put the effort into this at this point when the game production
Your
costs so
game is
much?
short as hell to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, is it an inferior product to the first Spider-Man game now?
Yeah, I would say so.
Mm.
I kind of agree with Mike.
Product,
I do kind of agree with Mike a little bit. I do think the game was great. What we got,
I wouldn't say it's inferior. I think inferior is just lying, right? I think it's disingenuous. I could see the argument that it's not a big enough leap over the first one. I'd be okay with saying
but
that.
Improvement. You're gonna say it's an improvement on the first one, though.
Sure, absolutely.
I think they got some things worse. I don't really like the gliding. I think you're just flying too much. I think they untethered the special abilities from the suits to throw more suits visually, but now everything feels more generic. There's less special abilities. I think the stealth got worse somehow.
I mean, I think you get to play as two different Spider-Man.
Yeah,
you have a bigger city to explore.
It's a bigger city, yes.
You get to play as another character if people don't want to get spoiled on that, but you get to play as another character later on. I mean, there's a lot to like in this game.
Yeah.
It was fun.
No, I mean, it's good.
Again, when you don't have the, even though the DLC was short and quick in that, and they came out in episodes, which I played them all. I was happy to that time. They also seem short, but I was glad it happened. It just keeps the game and the story and the universe in your mind longer. It feels like a more substantial thing that happened, as opposed to this game where you play it for like 15 hours and that's it. And then you
no, I don't disagree that it's like, all right, you play it and you're done. There's no reason to go back really, but I think it's still a better game than Spider-Man.
Also, they teased something that seemed like DLC in
they
there
did.
for a certain character.
They definitely did.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's
something that we would get.
Right, I don't think that was different from the first game because that's what Miles Morales wound up being.
Well, not even that. They had specific things that happened in the DLC, like the Black Cat missions were stuff that happened in the DLC.
No, I understand. I'm talking about Spider-Man 1 setting up the DLC, which would be the standalone game as Miles Morales.
Yeah, okay, but I don't know if that was going to be. That was also a pivot, I think.
They made a lot of content for it. Made it decide. Yeah,
I don't understand because this is Sony's formula. But by this point, we could look at Uncharted. We can look at Last of Us. There's another game I'm probably forgetting, right? Something for no, Horizon didn't have it, but that's what Sony does. They release their $40 standalone title. That's DLC for the enthusiast crowd, but it draws people in. So that's just what Sony does, or did, because I don't think they're doing that anymore.
What was that for Last of Us?
It was Uncharted definitely did it, and
what was it?
All the remakes.
Lost Legacy they did with Uncharted. That's
no the Riley DLC.
Yeah, the Riley DLC
thing.
I mean, oh, yeah, they made that standalone. I don't remember. I didn't play it.
Whatever it's called, I forget what it's called. But yeah, you could buy it separately.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to some news here. Other news.
Hold on. I mean, so the thing is, the DLC. Hold on. So with the DLC, I think with the layoffs, Insomniac is like, look, we can work on two things right now, right? Because Sony was like, despite you guys selling the best PS5 selling game first party, you have to lay off people, right? And it's like, okay, well, with reduced headcount, and they argued against that, right? Because we found out from that data hack that they had an entire presentation that said, if you force us to use layoffs, like this will hurt our company. It will hurt all our pipeline production, right? We talked about that.
Yeah.
And I'm almost positive they said we can only work on two games now, and one of those is Wolverine, right? Because that's going to be another 10 million plus copy, game. And it's going to be Spider-Man 3, right? There's no way in hell they're not doing either of those games. So the thing that got cut was whatever this DLC, Venom, whatever was going to be. And I think they are okay with that.
Those are two separate things, though. There was DLC for the main game, and then there was Venom, which they planned as a standalone from a while ago.
I don't think there was any Spider-Man 2 DLC planned.
No, I think there was. I think they had stuff specifically listed in there. I don't remember.
They had a couple in the timeline, but on the hack. On the hack was also there too.
And you figure there was going to be something with I'm just going to mild spoiler for the end a side quest ending in the game that we've all played because you expect to play all the quests in a game like this, is the Carnage possible DLC.
That was for Venom, though.
I would assume that was going to be in the Venom.
I thought that was going to be
DLC game, whatever that was going to be. That's what I thought that was going to be.
Yep.
As well.
I thought that was going to be for Venom.
Like the whole point of the ending of Spider-Man 2 is that he was taking like a break.
Right, but Miles
Peter.
is still there.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to be somewhat ambiguous, but yes, yeah. So I don't see a DLC where it was like, oh, you're going to play as Spider-Man again. It would definitely seem more like we're going to play as Venom.
So on the list from that hack was Beetle Infestation DLC, Extreme Carnage, and Spider-Verse Anomaly.
Yeah, so that's the DLC, Extreme Carnage. Not necessarily the Venom standalone game.
But so. Carnage was tied to Venom in this one with the symbiote.
Symbiote, please.
There's too many symbiotes. Symbiote.
Regardless, either way, the point stands. They're not working on the DLC anymore because I just don't think they had it in the production pipeline.
And I hope they don't do the Venom game either because that seems like a waste of time, honestly.
No, I doubt they will. I doubt they will.
Well, how else, sure. Guys? Let's be honest. How else are they going to take the team and make it focused on remastering it? That's Sony's formula. That's Sony's formula.
We probably will see Spider-Man 2 remastered.
They have to delist.
Well, we're going to get the Pro Enhanced version first, and then you get a remaster after.
Delist it first for a while.
All right. 2 other projects in development we got to talk about here. Remedy's first ever multiplayer game, Firebreak.
Interesting.
Not
in the Control universe.
It takes place after Control. Yes, it takes place as you take on roles as first responders in the Federal Bureau of Control. Bureau,
the FBC.
Yeah. Yep. The FBC. So it's 3-player co-op. Game is easy to get into and can be enjoyed with friends. Not a Control DLC or sequel. It takes place though after Control. So they're very excited to do this. New for them. First ever. It's first person. So
we'll see if this works. I'm not sure. The people into the Remedyverse aren't exactly the people I think of as multiplayer game enthusiasts, but
yeah.
I'll give it a look.
Is it using the Control gameplay?
I think the enemies probably have some of those powers. I don't think the characters that you would have if you're on a 3-person team and supposed to shoot a lot. I don't really think you're going to be telekinesising, but who knows? Maybe you could. Maybe it's an upgrade of some sort. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not a big PvE fan with multiplayer, but I'll give it a look because I like what Remedy's doing. Actually, tonight I might end up playing that Lake House DLC. I think it is out today.
Yeah, everybody's raving about that. So I see it posted a lot at least. So,
but yeah, I mean, Remedy wants, just like we talk about every other company, they want a games as a service thing.
It's not being described as a game as a service, but we'll have post-launch content to keep the game fresh.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you can if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a fucking duck.
Yeah, I got
you. I mean, they can say whatever they want, but that's the end result there. But the one interesting thing I did see, because I believe this was shown at the Xbox data or third-party director, whatever, partner showcase, whatever the fuck they call it.
Yeah, third-party showcase.
So they made it like, oh, it's coming to Game Pass, but I think afterwards it was revealed it was also coming to PlayStation, one of the tiers, right, or whatever like that. And apparently that is the first game, third-party game, that is going to be having a deal with both of the services at the same time, which is kind of interesting. And I think that's probably a net gain because, you know, historically, if like it's like, oh, Xbox, we're doing like you know, like Tomb Raider. Remember, what was it, the second game where like, oh, it's Xbox exclusive, right? We just made that point that the sales for it suffered because you lost that PlayStation user base, and by the time it got ported, people just moved on. People played other games and stuff like that. You know, or you can look at like Titanfall 1, same thing, right? So I think it's good that they're doing that to kind of maximize, because with a live service game or a constantly updated game, whatever the hell they said. You just need that live player base to be high at all times, so you can find matches, you can play games and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's interesting. I think they're definitely trying to expand the audience, and this is something like Resident Evil did, right? They had probably like 4 or 5 different multiplayer games for Resident Evil, where it's just like Resident Evil multiplayer. It's like what? Okay, sure.
And Remedy is just trying to get creative with their income because, as we know,
no, they need it. Yeah, Alan Wake 2 is still not profitable.
Broke
so
even or something by now, maybe. And we know they went to Annapurna to get some extra money there. And here, the way Game Pass works, and I'm assuming PlayStation Plus works similarly, is it's a lump sum up front, I think, for however long. So they get that, and then obviously you'll have microtransactions in this. I wonder if it's cross-play. That would be
yes. Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. Is the all. So I mean, it's still
on both platforms. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. The other thing, what the fuck? It was just on the tip of my tongue.
The crossplay.
Platforms?
I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
I forget. Yeah.
Remedy assures they are making more single player games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would expect so, but I'll definitely give it a look since I have Game Pass still. Although I don't know, when is this coming out? Does it say?
No.
Well, we'll see. Okay.
Yeah, we will see. Other news: IO Interactive is still working on their Project 007 game. IO Interactive is famous for Hitman, obviously. Their comments of amazingly well I'll take with a grain of salt.
Nothing ever goes amazingly well.
We'll share more details soon. So the game will be an origin story with a James Bond built from the ground up. You didn't like
Jimmy
that,
Bond. I don't ever like origin stories. Especially with characters that I normally associate with like 45-year-old men.
Do you, I mean, it's been 15 years since the last James Bond game.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's been a while.
That's crazy.
Daniel Craig's James Bond games have been bad. There's been like a couple. I think they were Activision, and no one was really into it.
So, do you think the Hitman group can make one? That's the question.
Yeah, I do. Hitman feels a little bit like a James Bond game already. Even if they literally put a James Bond skin on a Hitman game here, it will be good.
Yeah, I mean that was the thing. Like I liked. I was into it for like a week or two, where there was a YouTube content creator, Twitch stream. I forget all of the above, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where he was hosting contests in like a map that was just like, I want you to kill these 3 targets, because I think it was like custom game mode or whatever like that, and the top 10 people or whatever will win money, like little money, with the fastest times on these 3 targets. And just the submissions were so insane about like what people were doing, or is like, oh, this person picks up this briefcase, goes to the roof of this building, puts the briefcase down, and this briefcase allows you to like step onto this ledge which you can't access. And it's like, what? Like, how did you even come up? Like, how did you find this out, dude? Like, what?
Wow.
And like, he was talking about like another person. It's like, like these things that you have to do to trigger like AI NPCs to act a certain way.
It's a puzzle, and like,
I was like, that's fascinating to me. It like got me really invested. I was like, that's cool.
Like, I really like Hitman. I've realized I'm not good at it when I was playing the freelancer mode, which is their latest sort of like permadeath like campaign they added. It's not even really permadeath because, well, yeah, it is. You start over when you die, and you lose everything you bought as you level up. But I'm not good at it. I can beat like one section of it, but you're supposed to do like, I don't know, 8 in a row. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I would love it to be pretty much Hitman with maybe more story and cinematics.
I'm sure it will be. I mean, just based on the franchise that they're doing, and I think they're.
It seems like a good fit. So
yeah, I mean, they're British developers, right?
I don't know. I don't know anything about them.
I thought they were British developers.
Maybe. Whatever. Are we all doing it live here?
Yeah. Trying to see. I don't know, but
yeah, again, just the origin stuff is a little.
They're from Denmark, so
there we go.
European, close enough.
Yeah, they're nearby. No, I'm looking forward to this and the Wolverine game. Honestly, these are the things on the horizon for me that, franchises that I liked as a teenager that kind of went away. That I'm looking forward to their comebacks right now. Really.
Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully, it's going to turn out well. It's very early.
Even if Wolverine's an origin game, Mike?
What's that?
Even if Wolverine's an origin game?
X-Men Origins Wolverine?
No. Even if the new Wolverine...
the new one.
It's an origin game, yeah.
I mean, that would be weird, because he'd be little Jimmy. Little Jimmy Howlett getting bullied by Dog Logan. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't really like that either, but I guess there is some introducing to do if they're going to eventually make that shared universe that we think we're supposed to get.
Yeah, they're definitely doing it via flashbacks, 100%. I'll call it right now.
It looks like it.
It's going to alternate between like missions and then flashback sequences.
That's what happened in X-Men Origins Wolverine. I honestly think this is going to be very similar to that game, which is pretty good. So, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. I think that's all we have in the news. Yeah, that's it. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, we're live Twitch, Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock. Please join us for these live broadcasts. If you missed them, YouTube's got all the content, so make sure to subscribe over there as well so you get notified when we post. We will see you guys next week. We are out.